to us for a short while, if you don't mind, Victoria, and we'll continue with the program. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spotlight.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum again. It's wonderful to be here, and for those of you, I'm sorry if you've already heard me speaking before, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about the flashes of memories that I've had in the last couple of days. First of all, isn't it wonderful to see people and to be together again? And I think this is something which perhaps we have taken for granted in our past lives. And one of the things that I think I would say for all of us over these past 2 years, which have been challenging in one way and another, sometimes more tragically for some than for others, is that we had previously taken for granted company, being able to go out, seeing people. And of course, we got very good with our Zoom programs, and now we've got the Zoom technology, we'll probably never lose it. For me, as a British person coming, I hope I still get invited to Pakistan and people don't think, oh, well, it's easier to get her on Zoom. But nonetheless, isn't it wonderful? This main garden, it's one of my favorite places, is absolutely crammed. So what have we taken away with ourselves today? Well, firstly, we've taken away a pile of books, which is what I've now got to take back to Islamabad and then back to London. And isn't it wonderful still to have books? Yes, you can download books, but as was said earlier in the proceedings, there is nothing quite like a crisp book. Being able to open it, close it, flip back, flip forward, hopefully not reading the end before you've read the beginning, but nonetheless having a book in your hands. I think as a writer, I love having books. I love having a library. And again, I'd like to thank you all of you who have actually bought my books this time round, because as I said at the beginning, authors love talking about their own books, and they love having a bit of feedback that what they've written has reached another person. What I've done mainly in the time in between not speaking to you is listening to other sessions. And there have been some amazing sessions, particularly on creative writing and novels. Now, I'm not a novelist, but I found myself drawn to the sessions on writing creative literature. And one of the sessions I just listened to was particularly poignant because it was bound up with history and also writing novels. It was on the session which is particularly relevant to the theme of the conference today, Unhealed Wounds of Partition. And the subject was, is it more relevant to read a novel on partition or better to read fact? Or is it any help? Should the novelists be as accurate in what they retell as the actual historian? And what I would say is I think the two do join together, because I must admit, I learned a lot of my early history from the novels I read, because I think people sometimes go more easily to novels and then they capture the history as well. So what we must always never lose sight of is how powerful the written word can be, both fact and fiction, both creative and historical. And what's been absolutely wonderful about this session and this Karachi Literature Festival is how it's all come together with so many bookstores, so many different booksellers, so much available to read. I'm afraid my Urdu is not up to reading yet in Urdu, but nonetheless, I've noticed all these bookstores. And then seeing, as we did yesterday, the school children come. And having the school children, watching some of them come up to some of the great icons that we've had and asking them for their autograph and saying how inspired they were because they too wanted to write. Because that's the other thing that we as writers have is to bear in mind, is that we have a responsibility because we're setting an example for all those following in our footsteps. Is it the azan? Okay. Has Hanif come yet? No. Well, I was just enthusing about the power of the written word and the example we give to the younger generation. Because don't forget, they're in competition with the mobile phone, the app, all the different games that can be played. And I must admit, as a parent, I'm quite glad that my own children grew up without mobile phones. It's another medium of communication, and it's a valuable medium of communication. But what a book does is enable you to collect your thoughts and read in print, so to speak. So I think it's a challenge, and that's why whatever the young people here today have taken away from the Literature Festival is indeed how valuable it is still to possess a book and to hear how some of those books have been crafted. Interestingly, another session I attended was on how one sort of starts to write a book and how isolating it is being a writer. And it's true, only you and the medium on which you're writing is in the room at the same time. But I was writing throughout my adult life with my 3 children. And so I was rather the reverse. I was looking for 5 minutes peace for my children so that I could write. And I never actually felt lonely. But again, what a privilege it is to be able to find time to write. What a privilege it is to be published. And I think that's the thing with all of us published authors. Some authors haven't been published. They've got their manuscripts still to be completed. I would encourage all of you, if you have got an incomplete manuscript, to think about it getting it published. It gives you a great sense of satisfaction. And indeed, writing poetry. I attended another session on writing poetry. And why don't we all try writing poetry? I haven't actually tried writing poetry, but it's a wonderful medium for expression. Because again, I think the written word, the communicated word, is what we're all about. We want to communicate with each other. We are social individuals, which is, of course, what we missed during lockdown. But the power of communication, it can be so powerful. It can inspire. And what we want to be able to do is to inspire and to feel that we've left a little bit of a legacy. And as I said at the inaugural ceremony in my keynote speech then, I hope that my being here and having met some people who said they'd followed my work but now they were enjoying meeting me has again given a little bit of inspiration because in life that's what you need. You can be sort of dragooned into doing things, but you want to be inspired into doing things, and that will take you on the next step of your journey through life. So I would just like to thank again Karachi Literature Festival, Arshad, Rahila, Tammy, all my friends for inviting me, giving me this privileged position, enabling me to talk to you. And I cannot emphasize enough the importance of our cross-cultural international links. As you know, we have a lot of Pakistanis who also regard Britain as their second home. I regard Pakistan as my second home. And I do feel very privileged because of that one friendship I mentioned with Benazir Bhutto 44 years ago, I feel that I belong here. And interestingly, so many people, whenever I say I'm off to Pakistan, they always look at me a little askance because they don't know. But I am confident. I know that I will feel comfortable as soon as I come here. And so thank you all. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry I'm not Hanif Qureshi because he's much funnier than I am and written many more novels in that I haven't actually written a novel at all. But I've done my best to give you the impressions of what I've had today and yesterday and how quickly it's all gone because I look forward to it. I love having lunch out on the pontoon and now it's over. So there's that little end of term feeling of, oh dear, now I've got to go back to London again. But I hope I'll see you all again soon and thank you. Khadafiz.
That was lovely. Thank you so much, Victoria, for that. And as I said, you're welcome back anytime you like. So our keynote speaker this evening, Mr. Hanif Qureshi, has taken very ill, actually, which is why he's not here. I actually thought maybe he had gone to change back into his shorts, but it seems that he has a severe case of Karachi tummy and is very, very unwell. If he manages, he'll come down before we end, but I doubt it. So maybe a round of applause for him, because he's an incredible playwright, screenwriter, filmmaker, novelist, Oscar nominee, and of course, the man who wore shorts to KLF. We have just, to conclude this ceremony, we would like to thank our sponsors, the Bank of Punjab and Getz Pharma. And so we have Mr. Nofil Daud here, who's the Group Head Retail Banking, Bank of Punjab, to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Extremely sorry to hear about Hanif Saab, and I hope we all do that he gets well soon. Victoria, it was a pleasure listening to you and your gentle but firm exhortation towards all of us to write. I'm happy to report that I wrote something this afternoon, although it's on a hotel stationery page, and it's in Urdu, so I hope you understand some of it at least. So ladies and gentlemen, کہتے ہیں کہ یہ سب ایک خواب سے شروع ہوتا ہے. ملک کے ایک اہم ادبی میلے کے طور پر کے ایل ایف کی تحریر، اشاعت اور پرفارمنگ آرٹس کے بارے میں خدمات ایک مسلمہ حقیقت ہے. آکسفورڈ یونیورسٹی پریس اور گیٹس فارما کی طرف سے اس طرح کی تقریبات کے انعقاد کے لیے کی گئی کوششیں بھی قابل تعریف ہیں. بینک آف پنجاب ایسی بہت سی کاوشوں کا حصہ ہے جو ملک میں تعلیم، ادب اور ثقافت کے فروغ کے لیے فائدہ مند ہیں، اور ہم بی او پی کی طرف سے کے ایل ایف کے مسلسل دوسرے سال ٹائٹل سپانسر ہونے کے فیکٹ کو فخر کے طور پہ دیکھتے ہیں. خواتین حضرات، اس فیسٹیول کے لیے کراچی سے بہتر میزبان شہر شاید کوئی نہیں ہے، کیونکہ یہ شہر ادب اور فن کا شہر بھی ہے، اور یہ میلہ کراچی شہر کی فکری اور سماجی تعمیر کا ایک لازمی حصہ بن چکا ہے. آج میں اپنے آپ کو آپ اور ان تمام لوگوں کے درمیان پا کر انتہائی خوش قسمتی محسوس کر رہا ہوں جو کہ ادب کے شاندار خادم رہے ہیں، اور وہ بھی جن کو ہم نے سفر میں کھو دیا ہے، وہ لوگ جنہوں نے اپنی زندگی ادب کی تخلیق اور تائید میں صرف کی. ہمیں یقین ہے کہ وہ اب بھی یہاں موجود ہیں اور اپنے کام کے ذریعے زندہ رہیں گے. خواتین حضرات، آپ بی او پی کو ان تمام کوششوں میں پیش پائیں گے جو ہمارے قومی ثقافتی ورثے کی ترویج اور ان کو ہماری آنے والی نسلوں کے لیے محفوظ بنانے کے لیے کی جا رہی ہیں. مثلاً حال ہی میں ہم نے تقریباً 150 سال سے بھی زیادہ پرانی آگسٹ شیفٹ کی پینٹنگز جو کہ پرنسس بھمبا کولیکشنز کا حصہ تھیں اور قلعہ لاہور میں زبوحالی کا شکار تھیں، بی او پی کی مدد سے ان کو مکمل طور پہ ریسٹور کیا ہے، اور یہ بے مثال ثقافتی ورثہ اب ہماری آنے والی نسلوں کے لیے محفوظ ہو چکا ہے. ہم آج جس دور میں موجود ہیں وہاں پر ادب اور معاشیات کے آپس کے تعلق کو یا تو غیر موجود قرار دیا جا سکتا ہے یا یہ سمجھا جا سکتا ہے کہ ان کے درمیان ایک بہت ہی کمزور تعلق ہے. اور جب بات بینکنگ جیسے پیشے کی ہو رہی ہو اور اس کا ادب کے ساتھ کوئی تعلق جوڑا جائے تو سر کھجانے پہ مجبور ہو جاتے ہیں کہ بھائی ان کا آپس میں کیا رشتہ ہے. اگرچہ یہاں پر استاد محترم جناب مشتاق احمد یوسفی کی ذات، شخصیت اور ادب میں ان کا جو مقام ہے وہ ہم جیسے بینکرز کی لاج رکھ لیتی ہے، لیکن ایک عمومی تاثر یہی پایا جاتا ہے. تو اس کو ذہن پہ رکھتے ہوئے میں آج مختصراً کچھ گزارشات آپ کی خدمت میں پیش کرنا چاہوں گا. ہمارے لیے انسانی تمدن کے پچھلے 300 سے 500 سال اس لیے نمایاں ہیں کیونکہ یہاں ہم نے نئی سوچ، نظریات اور ٹیکنالوجی کے ذریعے مختلف شعبہ زندگی میں تیزی سے کی گئی ترقی کو ساتھ ساتھ ہوتے دیکھا ہے. ادب، معاشیات، سیاست، مختلف سائنسی ڈسپلنز، ٹیکنالوجی، ہر شعبے میں یہ گزرا ہوا دور ہمیں انسانی تاریخ کے 5 یا 10 ہزار سالہ ریکارڈڈ ہسٹری سے مختلف نظر آتا ہے. تو یہاں یہ سوال پوچھا جا سکتا ہے کہ ان فکری، سماجی اور تکنیکی ریولوشنز ने जहाँ अलग अलग इन शोबा जात को इम्पैक्ट किया है, वहाँ ये बज़ाहिर अलग अलग दिखने वाले शोबे क्या एक दूसरे पर भी किसी हद तक असरअंदाज हुए हैं कि नहीं? क्या मार्क्स की शख्सियत को हम सिर्फ मुआशियात या फिर सियासत के एक नीट एंड क्लीन कंपार्टमेंट में बॉक्सिंग करें, या उसकी तसनीफ़ात को अदब का हिस्सा भी करार दे सकते हैं? क्या रेनेसेंस दौर या उसके बाद की बनाई जाने वाली मास्टर्स की क्लासिकल पेंटिंग्स उस दौर के उमरा और पेट्रन्स ऑफ आर्ट्स से भी जोड़ी जा सकती हैं, या हम सिर्फ डविंची के क्रिएटिव टैलेंट पर ही तवज्जो मरकूज़ रखें? या क्या मोप्सा की शॉर्ट स्टोरीज़, जिनकी अदबी हैसियत से हम सब बखूबी वाकिफ़ हैं, क्या हम उन स्टोरीज़ को उस दौर के मुआशी हकीकत और हालात से हट के देख सकते हैं? ख्वातीन हज़रात, मेरे इन तिफलाना सवालात का मकसद ऊपर पेश की गई गुजारिश को उजागर करने के लिए है। आज के दौर में हम सब किसी भी शोबे से ताल्लुक़ रखते हों, इंसानी एग्जिस्टेंस की हर पहलू से असरअंदाज होते हैं और उन पर असरअंदाज होते हैं। इसीलिए आप बीओपी को केएलएफ में मौजूद पाएंगे, और इसीलिए आप बीओपी को केएलएफ जैसी उन तमाम काविशों को पेश पाएंगे जिससे मुल्क में अदब और सकाफ़त की तरवीज व तरक्की हो। मैं आप सबको मुबारकबाद देता हूँ कि एक ऐसी दुनिया में जहाँ तसल्लुत और बालादस्ती के नित नए तरीके बनाने और सीखने में लोग मसरूफ़ हैं, आप सब ने मोहब्बत का इंतखाब किया है। अदब जिंदाबाद, पाकिस्तान पाइंदाबाद। आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you very much, Mr. Daud. That was fantastic. And we all know that literature festivals like this cannot happen without corporate sponsorship. And for a corporate sponsor to be so vested in the arts is fabulous. Thank you. I'd now like to request Mr. Arshad Saeed Husain, the Managing Director of Oxford University Press, Pakistan, to present the vote of thanks.
Ms. Victoria Schofield, respected sponsors, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. And so, the 13th Karachi Literature Festival is coming to an end, but not quite yet. A Qawwali performance by the much-loved Fareed Ayaz and Abu Muhammad is yet to come. So I will try and be as brief as possible. I won't want to hold you from listening to this fantastic Qawwali. Over the past 2.5 days, we've looked at the many ways in which Pakistan's identity and place in the world has evolved. Thankfully, COVID is on the decline, and we've been able to openly meet and discuss a variety of issues face to face. Our sessions have seen thought-provoking analysis and debate, as well as an array of light-hearted, entertaining panels and performances. It's wonderful to be back, live and in person, closest to the people who've come to expect the very best from KLF. This year's KLF has seen many firsts. We've recognized writers of Sindhi, Balochi, Punjabi, and Pashto literature for the very first time through prizes here. It's also the first time that we had the pleasure of having the President of Pakistan with us to address the KLF. And also, we've jointly celebrated an important anniversary for our nation, 75 years of independence, alongside an important anniversary for OUP Pakistan, 70 years of publishing in Pakistan. Our chief guest at the inauguration of this KLF, Dr. Alvi, the President of Pakistan, spoke about the importance of humanity and how a reading culture can promote a strong, tolerant society. He noted how the KLF had become a part of our cultural calendar that promotes dialogue and discourse, key attributes of a prosperous society. While there's been much to celebrate, I cannot ignore the recent tragedies in Peshawar and Quetta. The victims and their families are in our thoughts and in our prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few days, we've been privileged to hear exceptional perspectives from our speakers. From when Zia Mohyuddin decided to acquaint himself with Shakespeare, to his views on the importance of classics in literature and the performing arts. Victoria Schofield shared her personal reflections on her belonging and the friendships she's made here and her unique views of the key attributes of Pakistani society. Yesterday saw a mix of enlightening and entertaining sessions, from content creators in social media age to panel on women's contribution to Pakistan, higher education, local government, digital art, and a packed house on our Urdu Mushaira. Today saw a discussion on two pillars of our state, the link between the constitution and the citizens, as well as a talk on media. We also witnessed a fascinating panel on a key driver of progress in our country, on school education. We are privileged to have experts at the festival who highlighted the importance of ethics, the rule of law, and investing in our youth to create a brighter future for Pakistan. Whether in the fields of fiction, mushaira, poetry, prose, music, arts, education, the economy, local government, regional languages, this 13th KLF has continued to work on previous KLFs, exploring developing trends and new frontiers. This time, our online effort since the campaign started helped us reach 1.9 million people and engage 50,000 people on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Something we've learned during the pandemic was that you can reach a far bigger audience than you can ever in a face-to-face festival. I think both are important. This face-to-face interaction that we have is equally important, as is the ability to reach out across borders, across boundaries through social media. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many dedicated people behind the scenes who deserve to be appreciated for putting on such a wonderful festival. But first, I must thank our speakers, our panelists, and performers. Whether you've traveled from abroad or from different parts of Pakistan, thank you for being here to inspire and enlighten all of us. I must give special thanks to our sponsors and co-sponsors who have helped make KLF a success. Notably, our title sponsor, the Bank of Punjab, for their generous support. I would also like to appreciate Getz Pharma, the British Deputy High Commission and the British Council, as well as English biscuit manufacturers, the Embassy of France, the US Consulate General Karachi, Lincoln's Corner, Bank Al-Falah, NBP Funds, UBL Funds, United Bank Limited, Dollans, Tehzeeb Foundation, Institute of Business Administration, Karachi, Tapal Tea, Tabiyat.pk, Voltec Power, SMS Security, Kar Mukabla, and MCB Arif Habib. A big thank you to all of you for your very generous support. Let me express my thanks to the media for their interest, enthusiasm in the festival. You are directly contributing to the reach and impact of Pakistani literature and the arts through your coverage. My special thanks to members of our advisory board for their time, effort, and thought. Our advisory board comprises of Ms. Maniza Shamsi, Mr. Iftikhar Arif, Michael Holgate, Haris Khaliq, Bina Shah, and Salman Tariq Qureshi. A very big thank you to all of you. KLF is home to the historical Beach Luxury Hotel. This hotel is part of the history of Karachi. My thanks to the Avari family, the management and staff of Beach Luxury Hotel for all their support in making this event truly memorable. I would also like to acknowledge Manhattan, CMC, and Brand Accord teams, the volunteers, facilitators, security personnel, and vendors who shared in making this occasion such a big success. And of course, I must thank the KLF team for their hard work in bringing together this festival. Can I request Ms. Rahila Bakai to come on stage? Rahila and her team, Muniza Ali, Afnan Khan, Sumair Qureshi, Mohammad Altamash. If all of you are here, can you all come, please? Shazia Asad, Fazil Ahmed, Bilal Muhammad, Bilal Chaudhry, Gausia Ali, Samuel Ray, Uzma Naz, Batul Nasir, Irfan Ali, Muhammad Tariq, Muhammad Arshad, and Muhammad Wasi. From our admin team, Aman Aziz, Felix Chandra, Javeria Zahir, Rita Dilma, Farooq Husain, Khalid Tareen, Shiraz Shamshad, Shariar Siddiqui, Hassam Khan, Furqan Mumtaz, and Mr. Niaz Siddiqui, Salma Adil and the South sales team. Also, a special thank you to all the volunteers in red t-shirts who have taken such good care of all of us here. And thank you, most of all, you who are here or have been here during the past 2.5 days. It has been fantastic to have all of you here, to be back face to face, meeting all of you, and the quality interactions we've had, and the chance acquaintances we've had with each other. So I wish all of you a fantastic year ahead, and look forward to seeing all of you again next year and later in this year for the Islamabad Literature Festival. Thank you all. Can I request Ms. Fatima Dada to please come on stage for a group photograph with the KLF team?
Thank you all, and the Qawwali will start shortly.